Greetings, Benjamin J. from Ben's Trains with another in the series. So just a follow-up on that Marx 400 that arrived yesterday. $9 on eBay. I was the only bidder. So just want to do a follow-up. It's been sitting for 24 hours and been running it periodically on and off. Run it for a couple hours, add a drop of oil. As you see, 99% of that rust is gone. Now I can scrape these silver, but this way it won't ever rust again. So another day of applying oil to this, I can get virtually all of this rust off. Anyway, I've got it lubed and tuned. It's on the outside tin litho rail, pulling 20 tin litho cars with a plastic Marx 400. $9 on eBay, and I was the only bidder. Now that is a lot of weight for that little locomotive to pull. This also has 3 lighted cars on it. Once this gets out on a straightaway, as you see, it's going to take off and run just perfectly. So that's pulling 20 tin litho cars at 50% power. Like I said, that's a lot of weight for that little plastic locomotive to pull. And yet, it's pulling it just by adding that traction tire, as you see. Like I said, that's a lot of weight for that little plastic locomotive to pull. $9 on eBay. Hard to beat that. This train's about 14 feet long. So it runs good, it looks nice. So grand total, I probably put 2 hours work into this. And no real repairs to it of any kind. Just lubing it, tuning it, getting it running. Added the traction tire, piece of black vinyl tape. Added that lens to it, made out of epoxy. And as you can see, I don't think anybody would object to owning this locomotive. It runs nice, it looks nice, and it was really inexpensive. And as you see, it will pull almost anything you could throw at it, within reason, of course. But considering it's pulling this much weight with no problem at all, from a dead stop. So, was it worth the $9? You tell me. Anyway, I gotta say it, don't overlook the jump. And I was the only bidder, and the reason for that was because this thing just looked dreadful. But if you can look past the rust and the grime and the dirt, and actually look at the locomotive, it was obvious there was nothing wrong with this but bad storage. And for $9, even if you can't get it running, you can use the parts. Out of the parts from one of these motors, you can fix 4, 6 other ones. So, it's simple, it's inexpensive, it's a lot of fun, and you can bring these things back from the dead. As you can see, this is running just perfectly. And it is pulling a substantial amount of weight with no problem at all. So, hard to beat that. It's really inexpensive. Plus you have the satisfaction of knowing you're the one that brought it back to life. This thing had been sitting for decades, absolutely forgotten in a box someplace. And literally in just a couple of minutes, and it didn't take any great amount of skill to do this. It's just basically lubing and tuning. Once you know how these motors work, they are really, really easy to fix. I didn't have to replace anything except the light bulb. Pretty straightforward. As you can see, it doesn't look bad even as it is with that bit of rust that still remains on the push rods. It doesn't look bad at all. I've added a traction tire to it. scrubbed the shell itself with soap and water and a soft brush, and then sprayed it with furniture polish, and that brings the sheen back to the plastic. Now, as you can see, it's got a bit of scuff on it, but it is in remarkably good condition. You know, this thing is 50, 60 years old, and it sat in a box for who knows how long, but it sat in a box for decades. There's no doubt about that. And it's up and running, and it's running really well. So it looks nice, it was really inexpensive, and it runs well. What more could you ask for? Anyway, I just want to do a quick follow-up. It's probably the last video on this. It's running perfectly. So I will use this motor for a replacement when a metal locomotive comes in that needs a motor or needs a repair. Swap this motor into it, take that motor out, repair it, put it in the 400 shell, and do it again. And so you can just cycle these motors virtually non-stop. And the one that you can't fix, if you find one you just can't get running, strip it for parts, and you have enough parts to fix 5 or 6 more electric motors. So just a quick follow-up, like I said, probably the last video on this 400. And I gotta say it, don't overlook the junk. This was cheap, it was fun to fix, it's up and running, and it's pulling 20 tin litho cars from a dead stop. So, just a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.